Okay, hello everyone, and welcome to the masterclass today, which is really about the opportunities in online business for herbalists going into the next year in 2024. I at this moment because I think more and more and more we are realizing that the world of online is really playing a bigger and a bigger part in the way that we interact and shop and those sort of things as a consumer, and also in the way that we run our business as well. And that is what we're going to be talking about in this session today, about like how that all falls into like how that connects and how you can use that in the way that you work as an herbalist and the way that you run your business as well. So there are quite a few different facets of this. I have some slides that we will go into. And I also wanted to preface this by, I think most of you who are here have already signed up as well for Sigrun's 12 masterclasses that start on Christmas Day. And those ones I would recommend you like signing up and checking those out as well, because I have followed Sigrun for several years now. And in the last year, I've been part of her membership and working more closely with her. And she has, really helped to shape a lot of the way that I run things on my online business. And I think it will be helpful as well, but we'll get into that later. So I will, is there a link to learn more? Yes, there is. It's Herbal Entrepreneur /12 Masterclasses. I can't seem to, this one here, but basically it's all free on starting on Christmas Day. If you go there, I think most of you have signed up if you're attending this or have got a link to sign up in some way. But basically every day from Christmas over New Year until the 5th of January, there are free masterclasses that are live run by Sigrun. And they're on all different topics. I do have a slide on this at the end, so I'll tell you about that later. But it's on online business. It's not specifically for herbalists, it's on online business. Whereas today's masterclass, which is the introduction, is more about how we as herbalists can get involved in the realm of online business, how that we can take that piece of the pie and really run with it. So I have my slides ready to go. And oops, I pressed share instead of slideshow. There we go. All right. I'm recording and I will share my screen. All right. Can everyone see my slides? Yep. Okay, good. All right. Now, just like to preface this as well, when I have the slides sharing, I don't see the chat very well. So I may miss questions while we're going through here, but I will come back to them at the end. So if you have any particular questions, feel free to let me know in the chat and I will address them either straight away or at some point in the presentation. Okay, so let's get started. In this training, first of all, I wanted to let you know a little bit what we're going to cover. We are going to cover why online business is so important for herbalists today, different types of herbalists and how we can expand online, how to focus your effort in the right places, and ways that we can really utilize the power of the online reach. You're going to see this theme throughout today's session, that going online really does just allow you to amplify your impact as an herbalist. It allows you to reach more people, for more people to benefit from what you have to offer. That is really like the key here that we are going to be like going over several times in today's session. And that's really what I believe online business really has to offer. So first of all, online business, what is that all about? Okay, why are we doing this session? Especially because I know for a fact that most herbalists truly prefer being outside in the garden, getting their hands dirty and actually working with the herbs. So like, why are we talking about online business? That is a pretty valid question. And I think the answer really does lie in the way that we can be advocates for the plants, the way that we are able to allow the plants to have their to spread their magic to the people. We are the messengers, and online business really does allow you to reach more people and get what you have to offer into the hands of more people. So a couple of examples here of types of online business is, when you first think of online business, you're probably thinking about e-commerce, some kind of shop. So this is an example of Laura from Nurture's online shop, where she sells herbal teas and different products here. You might also think about Etsy, where you have like on big marketplaces of different herbal products and things like that. You might even be thinking about influencers. Scrolling on social media, I think most people on here today may have heard of Black Forager and seen her TikTok videos and the fun little forager things. All of these things are really ways of reaching new people, and they all fall under this umbrella of online business. Okay, so let's look at some data, okay? And this is really important because it allows you to see how big this is and how important the world of online business is. And if we as herbalists are too focused on our little realm of what we're doing, we're not paying attention to the wider community, the wider world, and how we can play a part in that. Okay, so we need to be aware of what's going on, of the trends online, of the way that online business is growing, because otherwise we're going to be missing out on that, and the other people are going to make the most of these changes. So let's look at some data. This is, so just some statistics about online shopping, for example. In 2024, there is estimated to be 2.64 billion online shoppers around the world. And that equates to about 1 in 3 people around the world shopping online. And most likely, the actual amount of people in the areas where you live is even higher than this, because this includes the entire world. And I'm going to take a educated estimate here and say that most likely you're listening from an area where the percentage is much higher than that as well. Like it depends where you are. Herbal Entrepreneur is a worldwide brand, and so it can be, you might be listening from anywhere, but it's quite likely that people in your local area are, like, more than half of them are shopping online and could be potential customers. And translating that into like dollar money, the global digital commerce retail sales in 2024 is estimated to be $6.3 trillion. Now that is a lot, and it is it opens up your mind a little bit to think about what the possibilities are and how the way that your herbal business plays a part in that, okay? And we, as smaller businesses, most of people listening today are going to be smaller businesses, need to be a little bit clever about the way we play in this as well, because a lot of consumers tend to buy from the same bigger marketplaces, like, Etsy and Amazon and those sort of things there. And so it really does come down to the way that we connect with our clients that is going to make a huge difference when it comes to the success of the way that you present your brand online. So I wanted now to bring it back a little bit to what's going on in the realm of your herbal business, because it is going to be a little bit different for each of you listening today. And I think that's an important part of this message, that even though we can have an idea that, yes, we're meant to do something online, or what you do is going to be a little bit different than what someone else does. And it really will come down to what you have to offer, your strengths, and how you can offer that in the best way online. So I have a question, first of all, as to what kind of herbalist are you? But before, oh, yeah, no, I'll keep going here. So for those of you who have been in the Herbal Entrepreneur brand for a while, you will know that we talk about different types of pathways. And I know that a lot of herbalists identify them more than one of these. So we usually talk about 5 different ones, which is the maker, so making herbal products, selling herbal products, growing herbs, teaching about herbs, and healing with herbs, so like a clinical practitioner. And there are like overlaps here and things like this, and you might do more than one, but each of these different types of herbalists really can use the power of online business. And I wanted to give you some examples here so that you can start to think about how you can apply this, especially, and this is like much more important for you if you have a primarily in-person business at this point, so that you can think about the options that are there. So I wanted to start off with someone who sells herbs. So perhaps you have a shop or you sell at markets in person at the moment. And like the different types of things that you could do here is like the clear, most simple one is to create an online shop. So a website and an online store for you to sell your products online. I'm curious to know in the chat, for those of you who make or sell products at this point, who has an online store that is up and running and who doesn't yet? Like, yeah, let me know in the chat what stage you're at there. Because, or if you sell on a marketplace as well. So Michelle has an online store that is up and running. Someone, Elle has no website yet, an online store up and running, not yet, not online. I sell on Etsy, store and marketplace, not yet, market online. Great, so we have a bit of a mix here. 0, not yet. I have an online shop. Great, great, great. Okay, an herbal farm, great. So we have, there's some people have it up and running, some people not yet. Also, for those of you who don't have an online store running yet, I wanted to give you a little bit of encouragement in the sense that it doesn't have to be too hard to actually make it happen. A few years ago, I actually helped Yamaya, who was an Herbal Circle member, create her website and make an online shop that sells her products. And it took a little bit to get running, but it's really not such a huge project. In my experience, this seems like a harder project for most people in your mind than what it actually is. And so if you do have products, like at least a simple website where you can get people to call you if they want to buy your products, like a kind of online business card, that would be the beginning stages. But an online store is not as difficult as it seems to be for, like, I know that a lot of people, it's really a hurdle to do that thing, but it's not that difficult. And I think that the actual more difficult part is getting people to come to your online store afterwards, which we will touch on in a bit. But the opportunities for a person who sells herbs in a current physical place is, first of all, making an online store, but you can also take that one step further as well and think about how you can bring more people into your physical store as well. So there might be ways that you could teach something, so your social media presence, for example, and even like a some sort of thing to demonstrate your expertise, like a free course or a webinar, something like this, where you demonstrate what your products do or your expertise in the subject, so that people want to visit your in-person store as well, or your online store, depending on your strategy there. But basically, I wanted to highlight here that even someone who is selling herbal products, they can benefit a lot from teaching or connecting with people and demonstrating their expertise online. And that helps both their online store and their in-person store. Which makes sense as well, getting in the comments here that Michelle has a hybrid. She's in a store and has an online. And that's where it makes a lot of sense. You can have both there. The online store really is an addition to that in-person store. Yeah, exactly. Okay. And so, when we're talking about make it, so this is the same sort of thing, but I think on a it can be a smaller or larger scale actually. But yeah, on the maker side of things, we have someone who makes herbal products out of their own home using the herbs from their garden or from other sustainable sources. And on the other end of things, there is also like manufacturing on the larger scale. That we do have quite a few herbalists in our audience as well that is around making products and wholesaling to other stores, so those sellers as well. And so if you are someone who really enjoys making the herbal products, so formulating and making those products, what sort of opportunities would be there for you as like an herbalist making products and going online? I think in this case as well, creating an online store does make sense, especially if you make the products and sell them as well. But there are also other things that you can do to expand this process. I think that the making of herbal products is a pretty magical art, and allowing people into that process is really wonderful for people to be able to see, and it allows them to connect with that process of making the herbal products as well. And I think you can see this if when you are scrolling on Instagram or TikTok or something like that, there are quite a few herbal product makers who share beautiful videos of the process of how they go about making the herbal teas, the infused oils, the tinctures, and explaining how it works so that people can understand that and connect with that. And this is also a very clever strategy from the marketing side of things, because it allows people to see how you're making the products. It allows them to see that you're putting in that love and care into each product. And that, again, demonstrates your expertise so that they want to know more and will also be more likely to buy your products down the line as well. Okay. Okay, next slide. Okay, so there is also like a herbal teacher. So perhaps you do foraging walks, perhaps you teach in-person classes. I know this is a pretty big section of herbalists who are teaching and are very interested in teaching classes or workshops online. And this is understandably so, because teaching is something that is very transferable, in that you can teach a lot of people from all over the world much more easily through online business and virtual webinars than we have ever been able to do before. And this is wonderful for, first of all, you can reach more people, you can have a bigger impact, and it is also very good for the bottom line of your herbal business, because you can make a course, for example, or a workshop, and there's really no limit to the amount of people that you can bring into that realm, depending on the support that you offer in that program. But it is a very big opportunity to teach and demonstrate your expertise. Okay. Again, a grower, we have, so this is someone who is either foraging in a sustainable way in or growing herbs, cultivating and harvesting in that way. For someone who is doing that, I think, again, the online store is a good option, but it goes even deeper once again, the teaching side of things. So really showing your process, sharing your knowledge, how you grow your herbs, and the care and dedication that goes into that. And this is also part of that wider message of advocating for the plants and creating businesses that are good for the environment, in sharing the way that you grow the herbs and care for them and process them, it allows other people to learn from the way that you do things, and then expands that message, which is really important. And so for growers, it can also be it can be helpful to demonstrate your expertise in teaching about this as well, or sharing your process at the very minimum. And this is what social media really is for. It's about showing behind the scenes of your business and what is useful for the people who might be your clients and customers, or your suppliers, to know about what you do as an herbalist. So I think, yeah, once again, if you're focusing on growing herbs, I think that, yeah, the online store to sell your herbs is a great option, but also going that teaching route where you can either teach courses or share your message online to grow your reach. And as a clinical herbalist, where you work with clients, going online, I think there's two big options here, which is seeing clients virtually. I know that a lot of herbalists are going this direction, especially since COVID. The virtual consultations have been, yeah, really increasing in frequency and are generally accepted these days. And while it's different from an in-person consultation, because, yeah, you don't, see the hands, feel the hands and the tongue and all that sort of thing, it's a little bit more difficult in that sense, but it allows you to connect with the person, even someone on the other side of the world. And again, this makes it easier for you as a clinical herbalist to find more clients. So in the past, where you may have been limited to your direct community, it is easier with the addition of online business and seeing clients virtually to be able to connect with other people who will benefit from your skills as a clinical herbalist. And that is also much more peaceful for your business, because it is easier to find clients, and that allows you to continue your work as an herbalist as well. So you might have noticed throughout each of these that there is a bit of a common thread that I believe is really important in the realm of online business. And that is around teaching people about what you do, about your skills, and really educating so that you can reach new people and demonstrate what you know, demonstrate your skills as an herbalist, because this is the downside of herbal business, or sorry, of online business, is that people don't see you in person. And so they have a little bit less of a tendency to trust you. And the way that you can build that trust is really by showing your skills. So this is whether it be on social media, through some sort of course or something like that. It's really breaking down that mistrust and showing them that, yes, you know what you're doing, they can trust you. And by teaching, that really allows to build up those building blocks of trust. And I really want to emphasize here how much the impact of building your business online can do for your brand. And there's three things that I really wanted to mention. And the first one is that you can reach more people. This is just, I think it comes with the realm of online business, is that there are a lot of people online. And when you start to share your message and what you're doing with the world online, it allows you to literally connect with more people. You're no longer in your little town, in your, for example, I live in a tiny little town on a mountain on the side, like in Tuscany, and it's my personal reach here is quite limited. But when I come online, I can talk to you, whether you are in America, whether you're in Australia, whether you're in England, whether you're in India, whether you're in Kenya. I can talk to you and expand, just reach you. And I'm so grateful for that opportunity of being able to talk to people from all over the world, from my little isolated town, and just have that connection between us. It is something that is magical. It's and really something that we can use to our advantage when we're aware of it. And this is linked to reaching more people, but because you have that reach to more people, you can have a bigger impact. And this is like the key for me. It makes me so happy to know that we can really make a difference in more people's lives. And this is like just so true in the realm of herbalism because we are bringing back the traditions that have kind of been lost over the years and things like that, and bringing in that education so that more people understand how they can use herbs in their daily life, how they can use herbs to overcome problems that they're having in their health and wellness, and how they can, yeah, use herbs to increase their daily vitality. Like it really is having that impact. And because we can reach more people, we can have a bigger impact overall. And I think that is a really important part of this. And thirdly, it also allows you to have a better profit margin from the business side of things. When you can have an online store, it depends again how you set things up, but you don't need to have a brick and mortar store. That saves on rent. If you don't need to have that physical, like even commuting to the place, the it and this is especially true in the realm of online courses as well. If you have a workshop or an event that you're running, the in-person event or workshop has a limit to the amount of people, and the costs are inherently higher. You need to rent the space, you need to have physical activities. Whereas online, you tend to have much lower costs. And so for your business, this is a very a good thing for your bottom line. And this is where I think it's nice to have a bit of a hybrid, like we were saying in the chat before, of having that in-person store or in-person contacts as well, and also having that online as well, because it does allow that more rounded, and I think it's easier to have a successful and profitable business over time when you also include elements of online. Now, I just wanted to stop sharing for a minute here as well, because I wanted to talk a little bit about the personal, um, the personal differences of being online as well. And so this is just a little bit about my story as well, because it allows you to have so much more personal flexibility and freedom as well. This is in the example of if you have kids, a family, if you want to be location independent, you like to travel, like any of these things, they pair very well with online business, because you have so much more flexibility as a business owner when you have some way of doing things online as well. Like I said, I think it's nice to have a bit of a mix of both, because they go well together. But for myself personally, being able to grow an online business has been instrumental in my life at this point, because I started my online business before I had kids, but I was able to continue running my business when my kids were younger. Like I remember running tea room sessions in the Herbal Circle while I was breastfeeding my daughter, and that added to the conversation. It didn't detract. It was part of the feel of what it was. And we've had other members do the same as well. And I can completely encourage that, because we're all building our businesses, and it's part of it to have that family life or other commitments and things going on as well. And yeah, having that online aspect of the way you run your herbal business allows you to have that flexibility as well, that I think gives you more control back into the work-life balance. And work-life balance is very, very important for the success of a business over the long term, because if we really want to have a big impact, if we want to create something meaningful, it's going to take time, most likely years, several of them. And to do that, we need to really be able to give it our all, but be here over time while we're also enjoying life. And so I think that pairs well nicely with the online side of things. And that has definitely been the case in the way that I've run my business. But I just wanted to add that in here because I think it is key. All right, I'm going to go back to the slides. Now, here, have you thought about influencer marketing? Okay, so this is a kind of a trend in online business over the last few years, which has been increasing. And there are two ways of thinking about this. You might actually like to be the influencer. You might like to be the herbal influencer who is, making splashes on social media, getting attention. Or you might be the brand who wants to connect with influencers and meet more people through that way as well. So both of those are valid ways of going about online business as well. And this is important here. And so just some more data like what we were looking at before. In 2024, brands will spend $7.14 billion on influencer marketing, which is a 15% increase from this year. And so it has been like increasing year over year over the past few years. And this means two things. Like, first of all, it's working. And this is because influencers have influence. People are watching what they're doing on social media and they follow their recommendations. You might have experienced this effect as a consumer yourself. I know I personally have, like a lot of people kind of understand this a little bit when you get recommendations from people, but also you can connect with people as well. So it's thinking about what your business is and what sort of people would be useful for that, or being the influencer yourself. And so an example, I wanted to bring this up again, like Alexis Nicole, the Black Forager, is an example of an influencer in the herbal niche. She has over 1 million followers, almost 2 million on Instagram now, probably more on TikTok. And it's just with that amount of followers, a single post can make a big difference. You're reaching so many people. And this is where, like, you can think about this two ways. Do you want to create a fun kind of account like what Black Forager has done? Or do you want to connect with accounts like Black Forager or similar ones? Because there are quite a few in the herbal niche now. And this is kind of becoming an opportunity in online business itself. I mean, it is an opportunity in online business itself to be an influencer. And so and here, if you've looked at videos like this or similar ones before, you will see that it's education and entertaining education. That is what is kind of in attracting people. And that is the kind of thing that you can think about the content for you to create as well. Another kind of trend that perhaps you've considered, perhaps you haven't, is herbal subscription boxes, okay? This is a great model, and whether it's a physical box or a virtual box, the subscription model is a very healthy one in terms of your business because it allows you to have more predictable long-term income, and you have an idea of what that looks like over the long term. So yeah, this year in 2023, the subscription box market was worth approximately $32.9 billion, and it's growing at around about 14% annually. So it's just expecting to grow going forward. And so I have an example of like the Plant of the Month box subscription from Herbal Revolution, who was one of the speakers at the Herbal Entrepreneur Conference this year. And yeah, this is an example of where you can get the subscription box every month. This is a really nice kind of business opportunity because when people subscribe, they are committing to paying for 12 months of, depending on how you set it up, or continuously, or 3 months, or whatever it is, but they're committing to have that subscription box on a monthly basis. And that's also committing for you to have that revenue each and every month that they are a subscriber. I have seen this kind of thing, both physical, so where you are getting a physical product in the mail, or virtual, where perhaps it's like a community and you're focusing on one plant per month and learning more about that, or doing something different. Even the Herbal Circle that I run is a kind of subscription, but not a box. It's a community subscription. But this subscription model is something interesting to consider for herbalists in general, because it does really allow that your business to have the stability over the long term. Another trend that I wanted to cover today is about AI and artificial intelligence. This is something that I think a lot of herbalists are like, oh, like what's going on here? How to use it, or how to use it well, because if you don't give it the right prompts, it can come back a little bit clunky and things like that. But AI over the last year has made leaps and bounds and has already changed the way that a lot of small businesses run. But the potential for this is even more, because it's such a fast moving field at the moment and things are just progressing a lot. But basically, in small terms, simplified terms, if you haven't kind of heard much about it already, it's really learning from what is already on the web or things like that, from different learning models, and then using that so that it follows your prompts to create things. And from a small business level, you can use AI to create social media captions in your tone and the way that you usually would, or product descriptions, or marketing emails and things like that. And it really does cut down on the time needed to actually do these things, which I think is game changing for smaller businesses. And so that's, yes, I think especially online as well, because of it's linked there. So at this point, this is a growing field as well, because 60% of small businesses currently use AI, say that they have saved time and are working more efficiently because of AI. This as well, in my opinion, is quite a small percentage, considering how useful AI can be. I have used it myself in helping to brainstorm and things like that. And it's really is useful to be able to do, to get ideas and to get a start on projects that can be bigger. And so, yeah, I've mentioned this earlier in the year, Marketing Magic app, which is we did a webinar on this. You can check on YouTube if you want to look back on this, but this is an app that basically asks you questions about your business. And then based on that, it comes back with like your brand values and your mission and your product description and your sales emails and delivery emails and all different things. And it allows you to do that. So it's just something to look into there. So the question now is how you can make the most of this opportunity. There are so many different things that you can do as an herbalist, and online. There are different ways of starting your online shop, sharing your message with other people online, on social media, or whatever that is for you. Now, I didn't mean to stop sharing my screen. So let's talk about some options that you might like to kind of take with and run with for now. Also, AI is an interesting topic. I will go back to the AI. AI is an interesting topic. So we're getting in the chat, AI may be a time saver, but I prefer to infuse my heart and soul and essence and signature into everything I do. And that's okay. Like you don't have to if you don't want to. It really is it does change things as well. It's a different I think it's the way you use it. Like, and this is It's a difficult thing because a lot of people we have this conversation in the herbal circle tea rooms as well. So Wendy's saying I like to see what it comes up with and then tweak it with my voice. And yeah, Wendy, that's kind of the way I go about it as well. I don't really use directly too much from AI. I think it's much more about ideas. So for example, you could say like, what are 30 ideas for social posts about this product or something like that, and then come back and tweak it. And I think it helps with the blank page syndrome a little bit there. But let's keep moving. So some options for you. So if you don't already have an online shop, you might like to start an online shop. You might want to ramp up your website. So perhaps you already have a website, or you don't have. If you don't have a website, I would recommend creating a website, even a like one-page website. It's very easy to set up and is not a huge learning curve, depending on which builder you use and things like that. But you might want to ramp up your website depending on what your actual goals are. Okay. You might want to do virtual consultations if you don't already do this. So this is especially for clinical herbalists or anyone who is doing kind of consulting work. An online course. This is something that I think is applicable across the board, no matter what type of herbalism you practice. There is most likely something that you can teach in the realm of herbalism, and an online course is a pretty kind of profitable way to go about things. Virtual workshops is a great way to do it before online courses as well, because you can run workshops live like this one, and they can be paid workshops or free workshops as well. But it kind of forces you to do them. I like doing this myself because I tend to leave things to the last minute a little bit and procrastinate a little bit. And so having like a workshop that is run live slaps a date on it and it needs to be done by then, and that makes me actually do it. And so that's part of it. It's also more fun, like having 50 people on here today doing this session together. It's much more fun for me. There are also other options like freelance writing or freelance photos or freelance things like that. There are quite a few bigger herbal brands that are looking for help in creating content and things like that for their website or their social media and that sort of thing. If you are new to the world of herbalism and kind of putting your feelers out as far as what you want to do, I would really recommend freelance whatever you're good at. So writing or photography or something in the field of herbalism, because it's a great way for you to get your foot in the door and learn a little bit how it works. And also freelancing is good in terms of the revenue in the beginning, because you can it's more sure that you are going to get paid earlier. Sometimes with a business that is more big, like for example, creating an online course, it might take a little bit longer for you to actually create the course and sell the course. Whereas freelance writing, you can, kind of get started more quickly. And so some other things to consider when it comes to this is the potential gain. Okay, so there is a lot of things that you can really gain out of creating an online business in the field of herbalism. So there's the financial gain, there's the freedom, there's the more reach, the impact that you can have on people. Like the joy it will bring you. I think this is important because I personally get a lot of joy out of running my business, out of connecting with people all over the world, and just, making a difference. That's important for me. That is more important for me than like any kind of number of money, that sort of thing. The joy is really important. That's why I do what I do. The short and the long-term effects of what you do. Okay. So this is like, if you're creating an online store, for example, it takes a little bit of time to set up. There's a pretty there's a decent upfront cost to set up an online store, because you need to figure out the systems, put in the product descriptions, create the product photos, those sort of things. But over the long term, that store is going to stay online. It's going to keep on running automatically, even though you just need to do a couple of updates along the way. And over time, it's actually going to gain authority. People are going to find out about your store. It's going to be showing up on Google results and things like that. So like the long-term effects start to add up over time. Great. I'm seeing your question in the chat about blogging and podcasts. I will cover that in a moment, but not on slides. Okay, if you have particular questions, let me know in the chat, because we can go through that as well. So we've got things to consider: the alignment with your values. So what, like, does it really do what you want it to do? The potential and for further opportunities. So often one thing leads to the next. So if you think about, for example, the influencer platform that Alexis Nicole has built up over 1 million followers on her channel of Black Forager. From there, you can really do anything, because you have millions of people following you. You can create brand partnerships. You can create your own online course. You could, like, I know that she has a Patreon. You could do all different things from there. So what you're building, what further opportunities does that have the potential to bring you? It's also important to think about the time investment. So how much time you currently have, what you can invest into growing your online business, and what that is going to look like. And I personally like to think of this in terms of time and energy, because they're two different things. Sometimes it doesn't take long, but it does take up creative energy. So I would consider both of those things there. And also the money investment. If, I think online, it doesn't tend to have a high money investment up front. If, and there's a big caveat here, if you're willing to learn how things work. It can be a very low cost to get started if you're willing to learn how to create a website, if you're willing to learn how to create a marketing plan, if you're willing to learn these things. But it can be a big money investment if you want to pay someone to create your whole website for you and things like that as well. So it depends on where you're at, whether you prefer to pay for that or whether you prefer to put in the time. And it usually needs to come out of one of those buckets. And also the strain on other resources, like your energy, maybe your connection with your family, if you are spending more time and money doing this sort of thing. And so really just thinking about, and this applies across the board whenever you're making any sort of decisions, but weighing up those benefits and the risks and whether it really makes it worth it for you, okay? So are you willing to spend 5 hours per week on the computer monitoring your online business to bring in this amount of revenue and having this impact on the people that you are going to be working with? And so let's talk a little bit about how you will make the most of this opportunity. I'm going to stop my sharing here, I think. Let me just double check here. Oh, actually, I've just got a couple of slides. So I'm going to go back and do the slides, and then we'll do the discussion about the other stuff. So hang on a second. We will share my screen again. Sorry about going back and forth. All right. So here we have, how will you make the most of this opportunity? I wanted to, first of all, preface this by saying that, like, this session here is really the first session in the series of masterclasses about online business. So you've probably already seen this. If you haven't signed up already, I have put the link in the chat and I'll put it again afterwards. But like I mentioned at the beginning of this session, for several years now, I have been following Sigrid and on her email lists and learning from her when she shares free things. But over the past year, I've been part of her Somber Club membership, which is a membership where we meet a few times per week and talk about the different trends and things that are working. And also she has lots of masterclasses that you have access to and go through. But this Christmas, so literally on Christmas Day is the first day, but there's like 12 days of masterclasses and they're all 1 hour long. And basically they are on these topics. And so like it's about creating an online business, how to transform that knowledge into expertise online, how to create an offer that sells. So here's like the actual, what you're going to sell online. If you sell to one-on-one clients at the moment, how you can transition to selling to more people and increase that profit margin, and then exploding your email list with a freebie, which is a great strategy, by the way, bringing more people into the realm of your email and then connecting with them so that they can become customers eventually. Talking about AI in the 6th one. The 7th is about different streams of revenue, planning out social media, scaling to up to 7 figures in Sigrin's case, morning routines and mindsets, the perfect online course idea, and how to avoid the mistakes that often happen. So each of these is like, it's one per day over the 12 days, and they're all free. So you don't have to attend all of them. You might just want to attend 2 or 3 that kind of are more applicable to you, but they are all free over the time, from Christmas until the 5th of January. So I am just going to put the link in the chat again, and then we can talk about, because I had a couple of questions that people emailed to me as well that I wanted to cover. Okay. So if you haven't already, that is the link to sign up for Sigrin's 12 masterclasses. And full transparency, she like the 12 masterclasses are completely free, and she will be pitching a her course, which or her Kickstart program at the end of that as well, which is about how to put it all into motion, basically. But the 12 masterclasses I attended last year, as a free program on its own, it's already awesome. So like, I really would recommend checking that out if you're interested in diving into online business in a bigger way over the next year. Now, I had a question. So we've got a couple of questions about blogging and podcasting, and also about different platforms we recommend. If you have other questions, put them in. I also got emailed about different terms that we can use in our language and things like that as herbalists as well. So I might start with the website platforms because that's the easiest one for me. I can roll that off the top of my tongue. For website platforms, it depends what you want to do. If you want the most simple or the most like robust, or what you want. I have worked with people who have worked with all different types of website platforms. I don't think there is one that is the right answer for everyone. Okay, it does kind of depend. What I personally use is WordPress, because that is very versatile, and WordPress itself is free. You just need to pay for the hosting, and then you can put anything onto it. But it depends what you want. If you are just wanting to get your website up and running as soon as possible for selling products, I would probably go with Shopify. However, you do need to be careful with all of the platforms that are platforms. So this goes for Shopify, Squarespace, any of these ones, that there are some issues sometimes with herbal products, and like them saying you can no longer sell your products because of regulations and things like that. So you do need to be very careful in the way that you communicate what you're doing and which platforms you're using, because I think it's much more difficult for you to have your payments denied on a platform like WordPress because of its less kind of regulated. So yeah, I think that's more free. Other platforms that I've seen people using, so Shopify is a big one for products, and Squarespace and WordPress also, and Wix is the other one that I have seen people using quite often. Other people, feel free to put your things in your recommendations in the chat. But yeah, the big ones are Squarespace, Shopify, WordPress, and Wix, I think. There are all different ones. It's not there's no one right answer. It's really what works for you and what's simple for you. But yeah. And like I said, I like WordPress, but it is a little bit more complicated to learn because of it's like a basic platform and you have to add what parts you want on top of that. If I was doing it simple, I would probably go with Shopify for a products website. Okay. Now, so Michelle uses GoDaddy and has been pleased so far, easy and responsive, good to get started. Recommend, so Denise, you're recommending for ideas on subscriptions. You're meaning platforms for subscriptions or something else? Can you clarify that?
No, the ideas. So you went over like
we
Herbal Revolution.
have coming up here. So May asks, what are your thoughts on blogging and podcasts? Okay, thoughts. I think blogging and podcasts is a wonderful way to demonstrate your expertise. Going back when in 2014, when I first started my business, like my very, very first thing, I actually started off as a medical writer because I had graduated in pharmacy and I had that expertise and it made sense to me to do that. And the way I started was I literally created a website. I wrote like 3 posts about stuff about health or whatever, like I can't remember what I wrote exactly. And then I reached out to people and I said, are you interested in a medical writer? Here's an example of my work. And then sent that to them. And it was great because I had like a little portfolio of my blog that only had 3 posts on it, but it was enough. It was enough straight away for me to get jobs that were paying jobs straight away without any, like no one had paid me to write those blogs. I just wrote them myself and put them on my own website. But because it was on a website, it seemed more credible and it allowed me to get the freelancing jobs, which allowed me to live in Italy, even though I didn't have a visa or like I didn't have a working visa here. So I was kind of, that was the way I worked in that time. And so it's a really, really good way to demonstrate your expertise to get jobs in that, first of all, but also to grow your audience. Okay. This can be done very messily, or it can be done very strategically when it comes to blogging and podcasts. And in terms of your time and energy, I would recommend to get strategic about it. So thinking about your end goal, what it is that you actually want to do. Do you want to be selling products? Do you want to have a course that you sell? Do you want to have one-on-one clients? Like what it is that you want to do and what sort of content is going to bring in the right people to get to that goal. And you want to think about this before you start randomly creating content because it will save you time and energy, I promise. Really, it's going to save you a lot of time. And so basically, you want to build that audience for your end goal. And both blogging and podcasting really allows you to do that. It's just the written content and the podcasting content and like the audio content. And both of those, it's good to be building your audience. And by audience, I primarily mean your email list as you do this. So this is where you can have some kind of extra thing that you add to people who sign up for your email list. It might be a checklist. It might be, something extra that people can sign up for. And then you're growing your email list because that allows you to directly contact with people. And that is a huge part of online business. Being able to market with people directly through email is really important there. Okay. Okay, so that's if there's more questions about blogging and podcasts, let me know. But in general, I think blogging and podcasts is a wonderful way to reach more people and build that credibility. It's that first step, that bringing people into your realm of where you are. So Denise is looking for the herbal subscription box, the ideas of what you can use for this subscription. For example, the Herbal Revolution does the monthly plan. So yeah, there are lots of different ideas. I remember in the 2020 conference, I think it was, Mana shared with us about her subscription boxes from Radical Root Herbs, and she's actually on the call today, I can see. But there are lots of different options that you can do with the subscriptions. And here, you want to think about what you can offer on an ongoing basis to people and what they're going to find valuable. It can be, it can be something physical that you send out and sell online, or it can be something virtual as well. So it can be a monthly workshop or something like that that people are part of, or a monthly community, something like that as well. As far as collecting payments and the structure of the subscription, you really can use a lot of different things. If you're like just getting started and wanting to like test out the idea of a subscription, you can use like a checkout thing, something like Gumroad to start off with, because it's free to use in the beginning, and then progress from there. Once you've figured out if it works, then you can go to a different type of cart solution as well. Okay, good. And I got emailed one question as well before this that people were asking about, and this was around how to address the problem, I guess, that herbalists have of communication and language in the way that we communicate online. And this is a huge thing, because I think most of us are aware that herbalism is an unregulated field in the US and a lot of places around the world. And what this means is that there are no like official rules as to how it's run. And importantly here, we need to, the way that we present our information is not as doctors or medical advice, but rather as information that is helping people. And this is a blurry line a little bit, because it, when we're educating and also selling products, it's a little bit of a blurry line between what is practicing medicine and things like that. But this is something that I think people do experiment with, and I think a lot of people do this wrong online as well, when they are in their product descriptions saying that they help with certain ailments and things like that. It's not technically okay what we're supposed to be doing. You can say it supports this body system and things like that, but we really shouldn't be saying that it is healing eczema or anything like that. Like that's what we want to stay away from. And so if you're interested in learning more about like the actual language side of things, I do have a YouTube video that we can I'll link up for you to watch after this one, but I'm just going to, I just thought of this now, which is why I'm finding the link for you. There we go. There we go. So this is the link for the video if you want to watch. That's about like language for herbalists and different tweaks that you can use to help with that process. Because yeah, that's an important part. And I think it's, again, especially important online, because what you're putting out there is for everyone to see as well. And so it's more visible for everyone, including the FDA and other governing bodies and things like that. So you do need to be careful about what you put online on social media and on your website and things like that as well. A good way around this, because I know a lot of people want to be able to educate around their products without making claims online. So a way that you could do this in a way that kind of does make sense is to have a monthly webinar, for example, where you explain about how your products work, or the kind of the goal of what your products do. And so what you can do here is get people to sign up for the webinar and then get them to come to a call like this one, where it is you and them on the call. And because it's not on your website, it's not on social media, but you're on the call with those people there, you can be a little bit more natural in the way that you communicate there as well, even though you still need to be coming from that education perspective. But I think in a call like this, if you're really clear about that at the beginning, at the end, and just make sure that they know that you're informing them, then you can inform them in the middle in like what your products actually do. It's just a matter of making sure that they're aware that you're not a doctor and that you are helping them to see that. Oh, whoops. I just realized, sorry, everyone. I sometimes on the Zoom chat, it defaults to a direct message if someone direct messaged me. And so I direct messaged the YouTube link to just one person instead of everyone. So that should be showing up for everyone now. But that's that one. Okay. Okay, so we have, I'm interested to know your thoughts on listing the ingredients of your herbal products as well. Will this YouTube video help with that? So the YouTube video is talking specifically about the language to use, so like which terms to use, which ones not to use. It's kind of like, don't use this, here's what you can use instead. But as far as listing the ingredients on your products, I think that's a good idea. I think, and here, I think it's helpful to look at more established herbal businesses, look at their product descriptions and how they do it, and kind of model that on yours. I think that's a good way to do it. But if you have a look, in general, they do tend to list their ingredients. They don't need to be in any like specific order or anything like that on your website, so you don't like kind of show your formula and those sort of things, even though, yeah. But it's I think it's helpful, especially as a consumer. I like to see what's in the product or for those sort of things. So yeah, absolutely. That is a good idea. Okay. So I think that pretty much, that brings us to the end of this session today. But yeah, I wanted to once again remind you that the 12 masterclasses starts on Christmas Day, but they are having a welcome party on the 21st of December. So on the I don't have the details for that right now, but if you sign up, they will send you the details. So and so that's like a live call. And like I said, all of these masterclasses are live, so you can participate in the chat, ask questions and that sort of thing as well. Keep in mind that they are for everyone. It does tend to be kind of people like herbalists. So a lot of creative people who are on these calls, and it's specifically, I mean, males are welcome to come, but it does tend to be more female entrepreneurship, because Sigrun is very much about empowering women to, and that's her way of increase like increasing equality across the world. So it's a good place for that. Okay, I'm just in the chat. Do we get a replay of this session? Yes, I will send out the replay of this session. That is absolutely yes. Wonderful, cool. And just because of I'm on with a small group, whenever I'm on with a small group, I'm doing this at the moment, but I just want to let everyone know that next year in April, we are having the in-person intensive. And so this is the Practicing Herbalist Skills Intensive. And so this is for intermediate to advanced herbalists, I would say. I mean, if you're a beginner, you can still come, but we are aiming towards people who have been studying herbalism for a while and are kind of ready to start practicing as an herbalist, but are needing that confidence to lead them to the next step. And so basically it's a 5-day event that is running from Monday to Friday. And we are in this event, we are having like the speaker lineup is amazing. I know some people have heard me talk about this a lot, but I'm just going to say it anyway. We've got Rosemary Gladstar, Margie Flint, Oletakun Baobasi, and Marino Groves are going to be joining us, and each of those speakers are going to be teaching a masterclass, and then we'll also be going to be doing smaller group sessions with each of them too. And so if you're interested in finding out more about that, feel free to send me an email. I'll also put the link in here as well, just to, but basically we are very, very close to filling out the event completely, which is why I'm not sending it out to the whole list. But when we're in smaller groups, I am. Okay, everyone in the meeting. Okay, and Voya, yes, I have seen your email and I will get back to you. That's like, yeah, it's on my list of things to do after this webinar. Before this webinar, I was preparing for this webinar, but now I will get back to you. But that's that then as well. We're pretty much at capacity, but there's a couple of spots if there are, someone who really is just the right person. So just putting that out there. So yeah, that does bring us to the end of today's session. And if you have any questions, let me know. But this really is the beginning, because we are starting off with these opportunities, the possibilities of what you can do in the future. And over the 12 masterclasses that I shared with you, Sigrun's going to be taking it over and really just showing you more detail. She has so much expertise in this, and I have learned so much from her. So I hope that you will be able to as well. And yeah, I will see you there. I'm going to be attending too. And if I don't see you before then, I hope you have a wonderful holiday, Christmas, New Year, and all of that. And yeah, Buon Natale. I just saw that in the chat. Buon Natale to everyone. I hope you have a wonderful Christmas and Happy New Year.